You're live.
Let's hope so.
It said you're live. That means it's live. That's how I knew.
There's going to be a delay, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. So we'll just kill some time talking about stuff that we like, unrelated to. It's way brighter in here tonight than I feel like it's usually been.
It's definitely brighter in here than when we talked to Griffin. You can hear us okay?
Yep. All right, okay. They can hear us. Hello, Mr. Larson. Anyone else without audio? What can I
Without audio?
Yeah. No, I think it's just that one commenter that can't hear. Right out of the gate with questions. We're gonna hit them all. Let's go.
We're not gonna hit them all.
All the questions. I'm gonna hit as many as I can. So we'll just kick right off with favorite combiner transformer. I'm gonna go Superion, one of the earliest. I mean, the second earliest. Airplanes, all airplanes, all day. That works for me. Best Assassin's Creed game. I don't know. I've never played any of them.
Me neither.
So the one that was in
from Brooklyn. Hello.
The one that was in colonial America.
Stay safe out there.
That was the one I almost went in for, and then I didn't. So
Sunday morning in New Zealand.
That would be my favorite one. The one I almost played. It was a close call. Let's see. Christopher Fowler. Hope you're having the best weekend you can as well. All right, that's it. That's all the questions. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a good night.
Comedian.
No. Well, I guess favorite non-Gundam mech from Gundam. All right, hang on. That's a good question. It's the Leo, I would say, is probably my favorite. Those are the just sort of generic grunt, average trooper bad guy from Gundam Wing. That particular mobile suit in action figure is really great because it comes with the little snap-on wings and rockets and stuff. I love that figure so much. And I love the Space Leo as well. That's the space version. And it's the space version because it's purple. And it has a radar dish thing instead of jets. What do we got? Lion King. Fight to the finish. I don't know what that means. G.I. Joe classified series wish list. A lot. I have a lot of wishes for that.
He really does.
I mean, pretty much everybody. If there was only one I could have, that's tough. Storm Shadow, obviously. Duh, Storm Shadow. Any chance for a video on Kamen Rider? It's on the list. We'll probably get to it at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be Kamen Rider specific or also it'll probably be Kamen Rider Masked Rider. Japanese. Put the U.S.
We'll see.
It's got to be the same sort of thing. Channel. If Tommy Wiseau made a Transformers movie, would you want that to be a thing? And if not, why?
No, Tommy Wiseau shouldn't make movies.
No,
he's not very good at it.
I'll say no. Also,
Starcom thoughts. Thank you for the donations. Zatoichi's cane sword with an exclamation point.
That's not a question.
We did do a video on Starcom.
Yeah,
we've kind of done two.
Yeah. Thoughts are one of my favorite toys for sure of all time. Love that line. Tiny little pilots, tiny little visors, cockpits you can put them in. This is obvious stuff. Also, transforming ships that transform from one kind of a ship into another kind of ship. That is gold right there.
Greetings to you, Corey in Alabama, fixing up the toy room and watching Toy Galaxy live stream.
Nice.
How fitting.
Nice.
Very fitting.
Nice. No, don't put that there. Put it over there. I don't know, maybe that worked. What was the last gaming console you were really invested in? That would have to be the Xbox One because that's the current console that I have. Still playing Battlefront 2 on that. Still playing Rocket League. Still playing... I think that's it.
Hello from Inverness, Scotland. Hello. Stiff Kittens. It still boggles my mind that people all over the world...
Yeah, it's weird. That's weird.
Watch us.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. What else we got here? Any more questions?
Fans of the Toxic Crusaders figures. The designs are so fun.
That aesthetic it's not really my jam. Back in the day when Ninja Turtles were first coming out, I was into it because my younger brother is 10 years younger than me. So that was like right in his toy wheelhouse. So it was a real fun time to be, sort of collecting action figures with him at the time. But as far as it appealing to me specifically, it wasn't really, not really my thing. Are you two brothers?
No.
Someone
said I really need a haircut, home grooming tips.
I do. Look at this. Look at this mess.
Go slow.
Look at this mess.
I cut my hair this week.
Look at this.
Cut it himself.
I cut it myself.
Look at this.
It only looks a little.
Nobody's gonna see it, so I don't give a shit.
I'm gonna see if I can get a GIF out of this. I'm gonna put this online.
Don't do that.
Will there be a Toy Galaxy episode on Happy Meal toys?
Yes.
We did the changeables. Yeah, I guess I just found out we have one. It's on the list.
Happy Meals in general are on the list.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna cover that definitely.
What's your favorite? What's your least favorite Motu fig?
Least favorite? I just forgot their names. The guys that are tops, the spinning top guys. Those guys are terrible. Yeah, good job back there. Rotor and Twistoid. Was it Twistoid and Rotor? Whatever, Roton. Those guys are the worst. You'd think it would be Squeeze, because what do you do with that guy? But I actually had that guy and I dug him. Squeeze is the guy with the really long arms, and you can like wrap them around stuff. You can also just pull one arm all the way out, so he has like one tiny hand and one arm that's like 8 feet long. It makes no sense.
Dan, do you sponsor Fellows? I saw your name in his credits, or a person with the same name. It is a person with the same name.
It's probably the professional baseball player.
There's also a Dan Larson that sponsors, that's a patron of Brutal Moose, but it's not.
Not me. Nope. Is that the other guy behind the camera normally? It is. Yes,
I'm the guy that's the tripod normally. The guy behind the camera couldn't make it.
He's a very steady hand. Do you guys like metal music?
No.
Yeah. Well, like classic metal? Or like current metal? Probably not current metal, but you know, like the old stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I like music. Some of it could be classified as metal, I guess.
Yeah. You're gonna have to name a band or something. We'll just give them a thumbs up, thumbs down on specific bands.
Any chance of a video series about toys that are too odd for oddities?
Too odd for oddities.
Nah.
Too hot for TV.
What's up in Florida? What's up, Florida?
Plenty of channels have done retrospectives of the classic era of G.I. Joe. Have you guys ever thought about doing a deep dive on the very end of the line, 92 till the end of the 3 3/4 inch line? Maybe. Yeah. We thought about it. Do you think they would make a masterpiece zombie Optimus Prime? No, I don't think so. Mask? Yes. Yes.
A lot of Florida
That's
people.
An easy question there. Hey, everybody, be safe in Florida.
Be safe in Florida. Hello from Michigan. Be safe in Michigan.
Dan, does Boba Fett in your mind only exist as an OT? What is the rest of that question? As the OT character, or do you truck with his characterization beyond those films? Sorry if you answered having network troubles. Yeah, I mean, it's all of Star Wars. There's so much stuff that it's like, just keep what you want. And that goes really for anything, like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Just you keep the stuff you like and throw the rest out. So yeah, I guess the answer to your question is, yeah, it's probably the original trilogy character up until the point where he died. I'm not cool.
YouTube thing.
Did you like Exo Squad, and what was your favorite late 80s, early 90s 3 3/4 inch figures? I loved Exo Squad. That said, I didn't really have many pieces. Basically, for me, they hit it right out of the gate. I got like, main good guy, main bad guy, and then a couple of the little accessory packs, tiny helmets, the consoles, kind of like a seatbelt, all good. And as far as like favorite early 90s 3 3/4 inch figures, it would probably still be G.I. Joe. Yo from Florida, hi from Los Angeles.
Any chance for a history of Ultraman video? Yes.
On list, yes. Do you prefer Evil Dead more than Evil Dead Part 2?
No.
Right. Would you care to elaborate?
No, I know. I like Part 2 the best. I like Evil Dead is behind Part 2. And then the blasphemy of the whole thing is that I actually like the Evil Dead remake more than the original 3 Evil Dead films.
Deluxe new Snake Eyes versus retail all black Snake Eyes. Yeah, you don't have to pick, they're both great, just slight variations. I'll have both in my collection. I recommend you do the same. G.I. Joe classified vehicles, any chances? Yeah, I believe there's a huge chance. I don't think they're going to do anything huge vehicle-wise, but yeah, I absolutely think they're going to do vehicles. Like, the Ram, the Trouble Bubble, Serpentor's Chariot, Air Chariot. I could see them absolutely doing stuff like that, either as a standalone purchase. They're doing motorcycles and Professor Xavier's chair and stuff. You get the Snow Speeder in the Black Series. I don't see why they wouldn't do a couple of vehicles in G.I. Joe. Makes sense.
No, I jumped ahead again.
The questions?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, chat occasionally jumps down to the bottom.
Gotcha.
I don't know why it does that.
If you haven't already, will you delve into deluxe Won 6 figures. Just picked up Count Dooku and Brienne of Tarth. The Sideshow G.I. Joe figures were great. Not really. You gotta draw some lines somewhere. I have a couple of 12-inch figures. So do I. Valor versus Action Force look like they are slightly larger than Marvel Legends. They're about the same size. Thanks for the Saturday evening entertainment. You're welcome. I don't know why I said it like that. Dio, Megadeth, Iron Maiden. Some of those tracks all good for me.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'll take them. Are you mentally stable enough to withstand the possibility of Jason the Wheeled Wars coming back? I know I'm not. I'm mentally stable enough to handle a lot of things, actually. Yeah. Cartoon's not going to bother me.
How old were you when the Micronauts toy line came into existence? Very
young, because that's like the late 70s. So that's like, wouldn't have even been paying attention.
Yeah, a couple years old.
Yeah, wouldn't have been paying attention. New Star Wars Retro Collection is released. Will a Boba subset start for the name? Nah. Well, for the ones, I didn't see the last part of the question. For the ones actually accidentally set in, nah, they'll never be part of the Boba set. Now, if everybody on chat wants to send me one, we'll talk.
Any chance on exploring the world of custom action figures at some point? Probably not.
Probably not.
It's just there's too much to even attempt to try and figure out a way to come out.
Yeah, and to be like, to feel like you really had like fair coverage of the whole thing, right. And who's good, who's not, who's the best. It's all aesthetic differences, and I don't really own that much, so it's beyond photography, it's hard to really speak to it.
Mike Lorenzo Art, that is a cheers to you.
Oh, I was just reading that same comment. Any chance interest in a deep dive into the toy commercials and the lies they told us? I don't know what lies they told us.
Whenever we get to a particular line, if it had some parts of it were misleading, we bring it up. But focusing specifically on commercials that told some false truths, no, probably not.
Are you going to get the Black Series Boba Fett helmet, or Baba, as the one guy typed? I'm not planning on getting it. It just doesn't really, obviously it has a place in my collection, but price wise, I don't like dropping that much on one individual item, even if it is a really cool helmet. I tried it on at Toy Fair. It was cool. Looks good from the inside.
Corey, yeah, go for it. It doesn't hurt, and I'm not a Deftones fan.
I might have 1 or 2 songs in my playlist. Okay. Is there a Batman figure to scale with the large Keaton Batmobile? I don't know what that means. Hello from Orlando. Hello.
Just jumped again.
Dang. Do you like Voltron? Yes. Exo Squad or Crash Test Dummies? Exo Squad. That's weird. Those don't really even go together. Will you do a history of Super Sentai? It's on the list. What happened with the Captain Power reboot they were going to do? I don't know. They didn't contact us. We weren't involved in that. Greg, if you could only buy one horror action figure, what character would it be? It would be Ash or Sean or Pinhead.
the one
he already has. Any favorite toy that didn't have a cartoon, be it a line or one specific character? That's a good question. I'm gonna have to come back to that one like in another week, because I'm not gonna be able to think on the spot here. Toy line that didn't have a cartoon. That's tough. Maybe after intermission. What is your favorite year for Joe? It's got to be like 86 or 87. One of those core years.
What are your favorite G.I. Joe vehicles?
Favorite G.I. Joe vehicles right off the bat, Sky Striker, of course. And then after that, I've always loved the Ram because I love a motorcycle with a gun on the side. And then the Rattler, of course. The Dragonfly was definitely one of the first ones I ever got. The Fang, actually, I think was the first one I ever got. So that just has a special sentimental value. But yeah, it's absolutely Sky Striker for sure. Sky Striker, then the Rattler, and then like everything else is way, way behind it. You looking forward to Masters Origins? I'm gonna check it out. I don't know. I'll probably grab He-Man, see on a character by character basis after that. But it's definitely not a line that I'm gonna be collecting all of. Would you like to see Indiana Jones come back as a 3 3/4 inch line? Not really. I don't really care. I enjoyed the films. That line that came out back when Crystal Skull came out was fine. I have some of those figures. I don't know. It's not a character that I really feel like I need to have more of in my collection. Working on how many strongly worded fans? I don't know what that says. These questions are too long. You need a Mezco. You need a mascot like Mezco has. What would you choose for a mascot? If you go to our Patreon, patreon.com/toygalaxy, we have a little mascot character there. I don't know if he actually is officially any kind of mascot.
He never showed up in anything else.
He is the closest that we have so far. He's kind of wearing a helmet sort of inspired by the laser tag helmet that's been in the background on the shelves of almost all of our videos. So that's the closest we've got right now.
Any chance we get a Swamp Thing episode? Yes.
Yes.
Swamp Thing is definitely on the list.
What do you think is the best 112 Vader? I think it's between Black Series and SHF. For me, it's the 40th anniversary Black Series, or that's good enough for me. What was the other question? Favorite Autobot is Jetfire. Who's your favorite Autobot? That's a tough question because my favorite Transformer, like if you had to just burn them all to the ground and only keep one, it would be Soundwave. And I assume that includes all of the cassettes as well. For Autobots, man, it is a real tough call. As a kid, it was Streaker, but I don't know now. Like I don't know if there's one Autobot that whenever a new Transformer line comes out, I'm like, I need to see what Soundwave looks like. But everybody else, I'm like, we'll see. So I'm gonna say Soundwave, even though he's not an Autobot. How far into the Motu Classics did you get? I probably have like 25 or 30 figures. How many Masterpiece Transformers do you own? Grimlock, the first Optimus. I don't have a MP10 yet. Soundwave, Sideswipe. I think that's it. Optimus, Grimlock, Soundwave, Sideswipe. I think that's it, just 4. Bucky O'Hare's toy line. That's not a question. What toy lines do you think people will be looking for in the next 5 years? I'll come back to that one. What toy lines do you think people will be looking for in the next 5 years? Star Wars? Transformers?
Probably the same ones.
Probably the same ones.
Yeah, the same
ones. What was that?
Right here. Is there a Holy Grail?
Holy Grail you're still looking for. So,
the sleeves are going up.
That was even unintentional.
I know.
That's life imitating art. So my Holy Grail was not an action figure. It was a Graflex flash handle. We've talked about this before. It's the piece that became the prop that lightsabers were originally made out of. I got one of those, and so I was like, I can stop collecting. But one of my Holy Grails currently is the Metacom Real Action Hero line of figures. They're out of Japan, and it's these 3 Sun Vulcan characters. And I'm kicking myself to this day because like 2 years ago, there was a listing on eBay, had all 3 of them, and it was like $200 for the set. And I'm like, 200 is too much. And now it's like 200 for just one. So that stinks. I also just found out about, like, I knew Mythic Legions was a line of toys. Obviously, I have several of them. Just yesterday, I found out that there was a very limited edition figure called Rhaegar. He was released only at PowerCon, and it was a tribute to a fan who'd been a big Mythic Legions supporter. And it's basically their version of Warduke. And that, now that I know that it exists, like, it's all I want. And unfortunately, because it's such a limited run, such a special figure, it goes for like $250 to $300 on eBay. So it's probably not happening anytime soon. But yeah.
Dark Neko Studio, yes, we will cover the Bucky O'Hare. I mean, we'll cover Bucky O'Hare as a history of in general. At some point, it's on the list. Has anyone ever covered collecting Amiibo figures? There is a story here. We do have Amiibo on the list to cover.
Touchscreens. Have you ever been curious enough to count all your toys? No. It is absolutely in the thousands, for sure. Have you ever heard of the Alternation toys? Yeah, I have some of them. They're pretty cool designs. I don't know what they're doing with those, if they're going any further. Dan, you planning to go to the air show in Rhode Island in June or the one in Maine in August? Also, did you grow up in Japan? If there are air shows this year, which I'm guessing, I'm surprised those actually haven't been canceled yet. Probably not. I'll probably make those decisions on my own and steer clear of big, highly populated events like that for a while. But definitely next year. Thoughts on Todd McFarlane Spawn Kickstarter? It's going well. I mean, I'm not getting anything out of it, but I think it's really great, and I really appreciate what the approach he's taken with instead of introducing tiers, instead of trying to drive that, it's basically just each time he mentions like, oh, here's an arbitrary number. If we can get to this arbitrary number, then I'm going to give you free stuff. I'm just going to add stuff to what you pledged. So, you know, I went in for just the one single figure, but now having done absolutely nothing different, but sat there and watched the number go up, I'm now getting, you know, extra painted head. I'm getting metal chains. Is that all they added? I think they added, hands. They added holdy hands. So I'm fine if, you know, if people want to keep going in on that, getting that dollar amount up so that I keep getting more free stuff. That's awesome. That's the best way to run a Kickstarter, in my opinion. I haven't had to put in a single extra dollar to get all of that, you know, additional free stuff. So go Todd, you know.
Ben Flay, I want to see your toy room.
If you can see the back wall, you know, that's really my toy room. I don't have toys displayed like that. It's not, I don't have a big collection room like that or anything. I cycle out stuff on that back wall every once in a while. Probably need to do that soon. Haven't done it in a while. I just like lately it's just been like cycling pieces here and there. So you'll see stuff move around. But I don't have a toy room set up like that. Everything's like in bins and organized and put away. Do you try to catalog inventory your toys to keep track of what you have? I don't. I mean, for the most part, I know what I have, so I don't really need a catalog. Did you get to you? Of course, I get toys for Christmas. What else is anybody going to get me? Do you think the movie Mattelverse will happen? Visions? I think you mean Hasbroverse. I don't think so. No.
Doubtful.
The only way it happens is if when G.I. Joe comes out. If G.I. Joe comes out later this year, the Snake Eyes movie, if that actually has a real tie-in to the new Bumblebee universe, that's the only way it's going to happen. And it's got to be a real good tie-in, and that movie's got to do real well for them to even attempt to do anything else further with it. So, I mean, I guess we'll see. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Do you think the G.I. Joe Classified series will be around a while?
I sure hope so. You know, it
current events, some say, and as to whether or not it sticks around.
Yeah, but I mean, the way that it's being treated so far, it's definitely being targeted at adult collectors. It's not even something that you can really buy in stores yet. So, you know, the strength of the adult collector buying them online is really going to be the determining factor there. And, you know, just support it and cross your fingers and hope it lasts. Do you think we'll ever get a reboot toy line for Space 1999? That Eagle 1 was an amazing toy. I don't know anything about Space 1999.
It's on the list.
Yeah, I'm sure it's on the list. Everything's on the list. But I don't think we'll ever get another reboot toy line unless it makes a significant push for some kind of update. Like even Thunderbirds has been rebooted like once every 5 years, it feels like, and that still doesn't have a prominent, you know, presence anywhere. Do you have any Godzilla toys? I have a few smaller ones, none of the NECA ones. And I gave away, I had the big Jakks Pacific one. I gave that away to a kid, my friend's son,
Bill.
Max.
Thanks, Jug.
I gave it to Max for his birthday because he's a way bigger Godzilla fan than I am. And I was like, this dude needs to have this thing. So I gave it to him. Max, if you're watching, hi. How's it going?
Dan, what's your favorite movie of all time?
I don't know.
I don't have one.
Yeah, it's hard because there's a lot of movies I like, but to like say like this is the one movie that is my favorite movie. I like Top Gun obviously because I like
Mine
airplanes.
changes all the time.
I like Star Wars. You know, I like the original trilogy. I like Solo. I like Rogue One. I like Rebels. That's not a movie. But yeah, there's lots of movies. I like the original Superman 2. I like the one with Jet Li. I like the original Flash Gordon, but I mean, you know, favorite movie, I don't know. That's I don't know. There's nothing that's so like that's the movie. I like the '89 Batman.
Yeah.
You know, I could just keep sitting here naming movies that I like.
Thoughts on Sam Raimi doing Doctor Strange 2?
It doesn't.
Not a fan.
He's not a fan. I don't care. It could be good. It could suck. I don't know. We'll see when the movie comes out.
I won't see it.
Yeah. Did you get a Spawn McFarlane Kickstarter? I bought in, yes, for one figure. How about that new Marvel Legends Taskmaster? He looks great. He or she. I don't know. I don't have it yet. It looks cool. I didn't get it yet. My buying options since quarantine and stuff have been very, very slim. And I just haven't felt like ordering stuff online. It's not the same. Plus, you end up like, I don't know, I could spend like hundreds of dollars every day and just be like, I don't have any money. That's what happens. What about Toy Story? What about it? Oh, is that part of the favorite movie thing? It's a good movie. It's not my favorite movie. Favorite action figure feature of all time in a toy. If articulation is considered a feature, then it would be that. If removable helmets is a feature, then it would be that. But if we're talking about like, well, I guess glow in the dark. We'll go with glow in the dark. That's a good one. Nothing like motorized functions or rocket firing or sparking, those sorts of things. I'm all set there. Is there a particular character action figure you'd like to see made out of glow-in-the-dark or translucent plastic that you don't have yet? I don't think there's nothing specific that jumps out that says, like, oh, well, yeah, actually there is. And it'll cover both of those. Those Diamond Select Tron figures should have been both translucent and glow-in-the-dark. Like, what are you doing? Into the Spider-Verse live action. I don't know. It doesn't need to be. It worked really great animated, and you have the different interpretations of those characters really did a lot for, and just the visual presentation of that film really made the interdimensional antics, especially when you have a cartoon pig in there, more acceptable within the narrative.
Hey, Comic Pop is here.
Hey, Comic Pop. Is that Sal?
If you don't know, Comic Pop, go subscribe to their YouTube channel. They cover comic
books. What inspired the visual design of your videos / channel?
My brain.
This guy.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. We needed a logo, and that's it.
Rarest Laserdisc you own? I own 0. So
yeah. I don't even know really.
What's the one you paid the most for?
Fargo, the Japanese release, just because the shipping was high. It took a long time to get here. House on Sorority Row might be the rarest Laserdisc I have, but I paid $5 for it at a flea market because the guy was just getting rid of them.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. All right.
Do you still have?
Yeah, removable helmet. If that's considered a action figure feature, then yeah, I'm down with that for sure.
Yeah.
It is Sal. All right. Hey, Sal. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging out. I have a pillow that exactly. Oh, good. He's got pillows that matches your couch. Do you want to put him in the mail? Kevin Smith tried rebooting Buckaroo Banzai last year. Any interest seeing that story again and toys? I never saw it the first time.
I like Buckaroo Banzai. There is a script for a sequel that is online from many, many years ago. I don't know that that's a property we'll ever get back to, but you never know.
Greg, have you ever seen The Lighthouse?
Yes.
I don't know what it is. I've seen A Lighthouse.
It's all right. It certainly wasn't my favorite movie of last year. Wasn't even in my top 15 favorite movies of last year. It was all right.
What's with the skull and the space helmet in your background set? It is, to date, a skull in a space helmet in the background. That's the laser tag helmet. And I had a skull. I had a human skull. So I was like, where am I gonna
from one of the haters?
Where am I gonna keep my human skull? I need something that'll keep it safe. And I mean, helmets are safe for skulls. So it's just a craft store, like at Halloween time when they put out all those like plastic human body parts. It's one of those. And I was like, this would look cool. And I stuck it in there, and it's been there ever since. Except for when we take it out for video gags.
Yeah. Show's looking great, guys. Thank you.
Favorite superhero movie trilogy? Mine's Cats. Yeah, I would probably say either that. I really enjoy the Bale Batman series a lot. So that would probably be, as far as 3 strong movies goes, Captain America I like, the Bale Batman I like. I mean, I guess you could say Superman 1, 2, and 3, but 3 is really not strong, and it's not really a trilogy.
Right. No, there's 4 of them.
So, right. Greg, did you see and enjoy It Follows?
I did. I saw It Follows, and I enjoy It Follows. I think it's fantastic.
Did you guys see 1917 yet?
My wife has. I have not.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Lurch's Things. Yesterday spotted the new Power Rangers in Target. So there may be hope for G.I. Joe Classified making it to Australia. Fingers crossed for you, bud.
Now, when you say new Power Rangers, which one are we talking about? Because I'm still looking for the latest, like, 2 waves here in the U.S. Love to see Todd McFarlane do something with the Gargoyles line, perhaps in a medieval setting with Spawn, Superman, and Batman. I mean, they have the DC license, so that's not. I mean, Gargoyles is Disney though, so I don't see that all. I don't see that all getting worked out.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was done.
Will the Versus series ever come back? Probably not, unfortunately.
There was some figure I just saw. I just saw a figure, and I was like, "Oh, we could probably do a Versus."
I think we talked about it.
I don't remember what figure it was,
but I don't remember what it was either. It's possible that there may be a sort of one shot that pops up here and there.
One shot, one kill.
Tommy B. But not as a regular series. Just like with the 4 minutes or less that we did of Snake Eyes. It's a thing that might sort of pop in every once in a while, but that's about it.
Would a Toy Galaxy toy line ever exist? If so, what would the sales pitch be? Yeah, of course, everything's possible. That's definitely something that could happen. If it weren't just, it would most likely would just be me farming, characters out of, my file cabinet full of comic book characters that I designed that I've never done anything with other than put them in my file cabinet. So just, superheroes with rocket packs and ninjas and stuff like that. All the kind of stuff that we talk about on the show. Let's see. You guys ever poke into the art toy world, like $2,000 ogres with sneakers on, that sort of thing? Nope. Not at all. Not even a little bit. What is your favorite of the toys that cross over 2 or more properties? Star Wars, Transformers, Ghostbusters, Transformers. I have no idea. I guess Star Wars, Transformers, I guess, because I didn't really get into. There was like Ninja Turtles, WWE. I didn't do any. No, there was WWE Ghostbusters. There was Ninja Turtles Ghostbusters. I didn't get into any of those. It's just at a certain point, I'm like, just pop culture, give it a break. Like take a break, go walk around the block, and come back, and like figure out what you're doing. This is too much. Let some of these properties go.
Sasha Melvin asked, "What are your favorite type of videos to make?" Lists for me.
Yeah, definitely lists. Definitely lists.
With the costumes.
We have the most fun with those, for sure.
Yeah, those are the ones that were just like. What can we put in here that's going to be fun?
We just want to make it fun and funny and just let it go off the rails and let it be ridiculous, all that stuff. The history of videos, we've got to be careful about, research and facts and telling that story the right way. When we do lists, it's just like, okay, throw it out to the vote, let the voters vote, and then just have fun with the results and however it's presented. Did we say thank you to Lawrence Luke?
Not yet.
Thank you, Lawrence Luke.
My daughter wants to know how many Boba Fetts are in your Boba set. Stay safe. You can say the number. I mean,
I don't know the exact number because once we hit 500, we are still in progress. I'm the holdup on getting that 500 video done. We're still in progress making that 500 video, so I didn't really want to address anything after that. It's probably around like 515, 516 right now. I thought that said favorite beard. It says favorite band. I was like, well, I'm partial to mine when it's here, but since it's not, I guess Greg wins. I don't know. I would hate a stupid versus series. I don't know what that means. Superman Quest, please. It's hard to like read these and know whether or not they're a question.
I know.
Why are your wives watching a giant clock on the TV behind you? Because it's what's on TV. I would support a Dino Riders reboot. It could happen.
Are you familiar with Robotech?
Never heard of it. Dan, are you interested in Black Series TIE Fighter? I'll gladly give you mine. Warning, it's huge. I'm interested in whatever toys people don't want. I like toys. So, but no, that TIE Fighter, I think I saw it as cheap as like maybe 75, 80 bucks. I have no place to put it. I think it's amazing that they made it. I think it's really cool, but I just have absolutely no place to put it. I don't have a shelf that big. Same reason, like I didn't go in for Jabba's sail barge. It's just too big. There's nowhere to put it. I'm never going to do anything with it. The cost is ridiculous. Unicron, what am I going to do with that? Like it's almost like they're calling the bluffs of all these collectors who are like, oh, you should do this crazy huge thing. And they're like, okay, we did it. And now you have it. And what are you going to do with it? So it's It's not for me.
Seth asks, do you decide what sorts of videos to make based more on what gets the most views, or just what's the most fun to produce, or some combination of the two? Most fun to produce generally is what it is.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no process to what we decide we're going to make a video on. We literally just, for the most part, it's me. I just look at the schedule, put in some stuff, and then Dan takes a look at the schedule and goes, yeah, that's fine, or I don't want to do that one. Okay, that's it.
I mean, I think we try to pepper in some, prominent stuff. Like we can't do visionaries all day, and that like second and third and fifth tier stuff. You gotta, pepper in some Star Wars and some He-Man and some Thundercats to keep it going. To keep that sort of those prominent names featured, but I lost my train of thought.
Aside from Fett, what character do you own the most of?
So individual figure-wise, it's Matt Tracker. I definitely have 12 or 13 Matt Trackers. But character-wise, that's a different question. And it's probably, I hate to say it, but it's probably Optimus Prime just because there are so many of them. And
yeah.
I incidentally own so many of them because it's like, oh, this new one's even cooler than the last one that came out 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to get it because I'm dumb. But it's probably Optimus Prime. Oh, that's gross.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
We're doing that?
Sure.
We're going to give thank you very much to Ed's Manifesto. We're going to give Ed's Manifesto a shout out. Love your videos. Thank you very much, Ed.
Who would win in a thumb wrestling match, Dan or Greg? Dan would.
HasLab is a farce. It's a show about a clock. That's right. Somebody really wants to know the name of your cat.
Okay.
I'm not telling them. No, yeah, I can't do visionaries all day, Jonathan. Sorry about that.
Greg, do you have any graphic design training?
I mean,
formally.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing it for
not?
12 years now or something.
Yeah.
Ever think of covering Galador? Yes.
Never went to school for graphic design. Question. Let's see. Do you have any favorite fictional characters? My favorites are well known.
Do I have any?
Do you have any favorite fictional characters?
Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible.
That's true. That's a good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Put it on.
When is Greg going to make a low-budget horror movie? I've tried a few times.
Yeah.
That's why this channel exists.
That's right.
Because that's really hard.
You say low budget. What do you mean? How low? Favorite toy line as a child and most fun line to collect now. Favorite toy line
for me, it was G.I. Joe as a kid.
Yeah,
I would have to say, the line that my parents just got me a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I would have to say G.I. Joe for sure.
Star Wars was a very close second for me.
In terms of quantity, it was definitely G.I. Joe, although I absolutely loved Mask and had a ton of Mask stuff as well, including the Boulder Hill playset.
I loved Mask, but I didn't have any.
Sure. And it was like a unique thing that like I sort of owned because, my brother was already moved on from toys altogether. And like a lot of my friends didn't have Mask stuff. So it was just kind of like a private little, just making it for me. It's a special thing for me. So that was cool. Dragon Riders of the Styx is on the list.
All-time favorite album, Rufus Wainwright, Want One.
Let's see. How are Wednesday and Lupin doing? Great. Thanks for asking.
Favorite toy gimmick.
We covered this. That's
clear.
Okay. All right. So are we drawing a line between like articulation types of things and like I don't know. Yeah, clear. I don't know. Clear or glow in the dark. One of the two. If I had to choose, I'd say glow in the dark. No, clear. I want to change my answer.
Wilfredo Flores says, watch the last Halloween episode of Toy Galaxy. That was like a mini horror movie. I wanted more. I've done a lot more. We had bigger plans. We still have bigger plans for this Halloween. Yeah, we always have huge plans for Halloween.
Always have bigger plans.
And then everything gets pushed on top of it, and we wind up having like a week to shoot it. So
yeah, that's what usually happens. Choose one deep cut toy line to reboot: Bionic 6 or Captain Power. Bionic 6 easily, for sure. Big fan of Bionic 6. Love the concept. I love the idea of this sort of family that's kind of like just come together, and they have all the powers. Very fantastic four-ish. Just a fun concept, and I'd love to see those suits get updated a little bit because they are 90s. Those are some 90s design. Do you remember Mummies Alive? I don't really remember it that much. 90s
It is on the list.
It's on the list, and so I'll get to create a new bond with it. I definitely didn't have any of the toys, so it's definitely something we'll cover at some point, but I have no personal actual connection to it. Would you rather fight Mega Man or Shovel Knight? What do I get in this fight? Like, what are my tools to fight Mega Man and Shovel Knight?
Any chance for a Toy Galaxy meetup 2 in the future? Yes.
100%.
We had plans. We were trying to book a place, and now we can't.
Well, and we had set up that
did.
could have absolutely turned into meetups, especially the one that was going to be in Winnipeg. That would have been a great opportunity for a meetup, but things happen, things are things, so we'll get back to it in the future.
Where is Griffin Newman? He was great. You'd have to ask him or
I don't
his
know.
mom, because we're neither.
Hang on, I put a GPS dot on him. He wasn't looking, so I don't know. Hi guys, just want to let you know that the show has helped me out a lot with dealing with drug withdrawal and anxiety. Great show introduction. All right, thanks, man. That's very, very happy to hear that.
Good on you.
Good on you, and keep doing whatever you're doing to stay positive and keep rolling forward.
Shame the DVDs or Blu-rays of Bionic 6 have not been released. One of the crazy things that I think found from doing this show is how many shows got no release whatsoever, no home video release at all. It is crazy the number of shows that we do episodes on, and then it's like, oh, but there's no way to get
unless
it's
somebody's
crazy.
Uploaded them to YouTube.
Yeah.
Jonas Meza Archambault says, knock knock. I'm gonna say who's there, and we'll wait.
The comedic timing in the YouTube
it's off. It's a little off. Owned any Jurassic Park toys? Yeah, I got almost all of the original line when they first came out. It seems like there's always a desire for like really good dinosaur toys, and if Jurassic Park has done anything right, it's been able to constantly put dinosaur toys out onto the market because there's always a market for that. I haven't bought any in years. Oh no, I did. I bought the giant one that you can. I did a Dan in the photo booth video where I stuck like 25 Boba Fett's in it,
Yep.
and then
That was recent.
then puked them all out. So that's the most recent thing I have.
Come to Texas. We'd love to.
At some point. Seriously though, I look forward to Griffin Newman's performance as Orca. We do too. Looks I spoke to him quite at length when we were at Toy Fair. So he didn't tell me anything he didn't tell you guys. So I don't have any secrets. Don't ask me any questions about it. But it was just really great to hear him talk about it and to get that kind of perspective and behind the scenes sort of stuff. Wilfredo Flores already answered this question for us. What would a Dan Larson action figure come with? He says figure would come with a slice of pizza, a Boba Fett figure, and his cat's as accessory.
Pretty dead on.
Probably removable beard.
Yeah.
Alternate heads, so you can decide which one you want to put on there.
And like a little backdrop, a little cardboard backdrop that you can put behind.
Yeah. Should there be a virtual tour of the upcoming toy lines that were going to be shown at SDCC? I'm sure they're planning something like that. Check out Pixel Dan. I know that he just announced that because SDCC coverage for Pixel Dan is like a big deal for him every year. He does some of the best coverage out there, and he's already mentioned that he's reached out to the people that he's usually doing those interviews and stuff with. So I expect that he's still going to be doing Comic-Con based coverage and have a lot of these. He just did a interview with Brian Flynn from Super 7. Talking about the Thundercats and Snake Mountain and all that stuff. Check out that video if you haven't already seen it. So I think he'll be doing a lot of that stuff too. So I still expect all of that coverage and stuff to be out there, and virtual con and whatever else. Any plans for the short-lived Super Joe line? I think they were 8 inches. Yeah, it's on the list. We'll talk about it. I think it was definitely in our history of G.I. Joe. It was mentioned very briefly.
Oh, the original version of it?
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, they were terrible figures. Snack break, history of Mega Blocks / Constructs.
We have Lego on the list.
Constructs aren't on there?
I don't know.
Constructs are probably
I don't remember it.
Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is definitely on there.
Yeah, definitely. We almost did that like 3 weeks ago, but something came up and I shuttled it off and replaced it with something.
Will there be a Dune episode? Do we have Dune toys on the list?
I don't think so. I don't think we have Dune toys on the list, but with the new movie coming out, we probably should cover Dune. It's difficult sometimes because the story behind the movie is very, behind sort of the toy line and stuff like that. And we're not a movie channel. So then it becomes, well, how much of that do we touch on? It's tough. It's tough. Would you ever do an episode on the Creepy Crawlers action figure line? Yes, it's on the list. Do you remember the Toxic Crusaders? We have a whole video on Toxic Crusaders. So
definitely
yes,
remember them. Yep. Any 60s, 70s toy lines on the horizon? Major Matt Mason, Big Jim, Mark's Vikings, Knights, etc. Matt Mason, I think, is definitely on the list. If it's not, I'll put it on the list right now because we should definitely be talking about Matt Mason.
Star Blazers is on the list.
Big Jim probably not going to get its own episode. I don't know that there's that much there to talk about.
It's something that we would look into. And if there's enough there, it would get an episode.
Yeah, I could see bundle a bunch of them together. Like here's a bunch of.
It doesn't work.
No,
it doesn't work.
All right, sorry. I tried to pitch it. They said no. Random question. Franchise crossover you'd like to see? Mine would be G.I. Joe and Cobra combine forces to help defend the Earth from an alien invasion in G.I. Joe Independence Day. I'm not really down for G.I. Joe and Cobra joining forces, actually. I mean, if we go by the definition of Cobra as a terrorist organization, I'd like to, say that the plot would go, hey, yeah, we'll join forces with you, and then they put all the Cobra guys in jail, and then they fight the aliens because we still need to take those terrorists out.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is on the list.
Did you watch the Lego Masters TV show? I watched the Star Wars episode because my mom was like, you need to watch that episode. I was like, okay. I love Will Arnett. I don't really feel like he has much to work with on that show. He is doing his darndest to seem like he's really interested. Get that paycheck. I don't blame him. But I haven't actually watched it that much because it just seems like such a weird thing to me. It's like, they've got experts coming in to talk about, they're like Lego experts. It's like, you're no more expert than anybody else. Wait, did you train? Yes, it is. Did you train to be like if it's a fashion show or a cooking show or any of these other sort of competitive types of shows, you have measurable ways that they can be an expert, right? Like you have a restaurant, you've been a chef, you have all these awards, you've created recipes and stuff. But yeah, it's like, what are your credentials as a Lego master judge? Like you built the Taj Mahal in 3 days? Congratulations. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
It's just you.
All right.
Cowboy Bebop, no starting lineup is not on the list, but I will put it on the list. Thank you for the suggestion, Corey.
Any chance for a video on Fisher-Price Adventure People? Definitely on the list.
Mantech is on the list.
Mantech is on the list. I was actually going through some of my figures last night and found my Mantech figure.
Oh, hey, so, nice.
Yeah.
I remember you mentioning that you thought you had one.
Yeah, brush up on my Mantech.
When can we expect the Toy Galaxy cartoon series? As soon as J. Michael Straczynski finishes writing.
Yeah, let's go, guy. What are you waiting on?
How about a Simpsons toy episode? Simpsons is a tough one. Simpsons is on the list, but how the hell do you cover something that's lasted 30 years?
Well, toy-wise, they don't really have that many toys.
No, I know that, but we wouldn't just be doing a Simpsons toy episode.
Basically, it would just be like, here's the 10 episodes that they do, and then they've done them like 300 times. Got them!
Could say the same thing about our show.
Yeah, well, that's true. Best and most valuable items sent to you. There have been a couple of really nice items that very generous people have sent in, including the Hot Toys Boba Fett, the Hot Toys Stealth Iron Man, the Lego Voltron, the Mega Scale custom painted, custom lighted lit Gundam. It's like, how do you gauge the actual dollar value of something like that where they did that custom work to it versus like, a Lego kit that I appreciate came pre-assembled. But those are definitely some of the really incredible items that people have sent in that, it's like, it's like, the note's always like, hey, thank you for doing the thing you did. And then I'm like, oh, now I have to say thank you to them. And it's like, when does the back and forth of the thank you end? And I don't know.
Casey, I have seen The Color Out of Space. I own it on 4K. I highly recommend it.
What's your favorite gross toy, i.e. Mad Balls? Probably Mad Balls. I don't even know
what did you
what
guys
else
think
would-
about The Toys That Made Us? I haven't seen it.
He hasn't seen it. I've watched every episode, thought it was great. My whole stance on that is anything that expands the toy appreciating audience is good for all of us. I'm not going to sit here and critique and they didn't do this right. I don't like the way they did that. It's all like they have access to interviewing people that I don't have access to, so I want to see that, and if that's the means which I can see those people talk about those things, it's all good for me. And like I said, they're reaching a different audience than we're necessarily reaching on YouTube, but those people who watch 10 episodes of The Toys That Made Us are going to have this hunger, they're going to have this fever for more toy history, and that leads them to us. So it's all good in my opinion.
Will you guys do a video on the toys for The Last Starfighter? Yeah, it's on the list. Are you going to cover Star Trek, and where do you start? Yes, we are going to cover Star Trek. I say that like that because
it was on the list like 2 weeks ago.
we were so close
to
covering it, and it just got shuttled off for other stuff for various reasons. Sometimes a video just doesn't feel like, with the Star Trek one, it was just like, I know we got to do this Star Trek video this week, but I really just don't want to. And so we just moved it, and now it's off the schedule. We'll get around to Star Trek at some point. I don't know what we're going to do. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We don't always have a very, very, very clear plan going in. So.
Ever considered retrospectives of past defunct toy companies like Ideal, Marx, Remco, LJN, etc.? Honestly, most of that video would just be like, and then they got bought by Hasbro. That would be the majority of that video.
JJ Arms.
Oh, JJ Arms, yeah.
That's on the
who wrote
list.
That? Oh, wow. That is definitely on the list.
Yeah.
Speaking of toy gimmicks, how do people sending free toys start, and did you feel guilty at first? Well, I mean, it started because we said, hey, we have a P.O. box. And then people started sending stuff. That's how that started. Did I feel guilty? No, because we intentionally set up the P.O. box knowing that was a very realistic possibility that was going to happen.
We had people asking for his
how
home
do I send
address
things
to
to
send
you?
stuff,
Yeah, so obviously we didn't want to give out my home address, but guilt is not the right description for people sending you stuff like that. What is the right description? It's not like it's humility. Is that it? Like,
sure.
You're humbled that somebody would send you anything, that somebody would send you even like a Boba Fett. I'm always like, I'm very appreciative of it, but guilt is not the right word for sure. I've said this during the live stream with Pixeland and Fwoosh. You should all be on The Toys That Made Us. Well, we don't make the show, so.
Have you ever done a video on Ulysses 31? If not, is it on the list? It is on the list, yeah. And we could potentially have a collab with that. I'm not sure.
Can we have an episode with the clock in the background?
No.
Not this one, no.
This isn't where we shoot the show. Here's a question. What's not on the list? There's stuff that's not on the list that occasionally gets, but again, I say again, like 2 weeks ago we covered this. The list is like 300 and something properties long.
Yeah.
I spent weeks and weeks putting that list together of all stuff that we wanted to cover.
It's just rolling. It's constantly being expanded. Yeah. It got expanded during this live stream. What was this? Sweet spot for a toy price. I say $30. That's getting to the high end. Anything past that, and I'm really, really, really hesitant to drop on. That's why I can't Mezco 112. I just can't. And like a lot of the imports, Figuarts, Mafex, all those sorts of things, it just starts to push beyond my comfortable range. And even now, I look back and when Black Series started and came out at $20, I was like, oh my god, $20. There's no way I can. Like I didn't go in on Black Series initially because it was too expensive, and now it's like that's the regular price. And you start dropping 30, 35, 40, and that price just keeps shifting and shifting and shifting. I can't go there.
Thank you for the $2, Jared Steele. How about Trendmaster's Godzilla / Gamera?
How about it? How about it?
I mean, Godzilla is on the list, but holy.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
What do you cover? Do you cover the toys? Do you cover old toys, new toys?
Do you cover
the movies?
U.S. releases?
Yeah.
Do you get into all that Safubi and Japanese? And there's like 8,000 Godzilla toys released every year in Japan since it came out.
It's a tough one, and there are a lot of properties that we have, like Star Trek, like Godzilla, that we've never covered because we know they're going to take more time than we have to give it. You know, the time from when we start researching a video and shoot that video is generally only about 4 to 5 days. And like something like Godzilla, we know is going to take a lot of extra time just to sort of even sort out what we're doing, what we're going to do, and how we're going to approach it. Until we can give it that time, we just haven't covered it.
Turtle Dave is stuck in the Einstein time loop. He was in the DeLorean with the time travel, so now he's 25 seconds off.
Do you think there'll be a Castle Grayskull for the Motu Origins line?
No.
We've gotten this question before. Did you ever film an episode you decided not to air, and if so, why? No, we haven't. The first episode of the show that we ever shot, we shot without a script, but it was just a test.
And you can see a very, very horrible, awkward, cringy bit of that in our 100,000 subscriber video. Oh, it's not good. And I hope all that footage was lost in your last computer crash.
Nope.
Oh, no.
I still have it all.
Oh, no.
I have every bit of footage we've ever shot for this show. Every single minute that's ever been shot for this show, I still have.
Yeah. The only other episode that didn't air, we had to reshoot because, and we've mentioned this before too, I had shaved right before we went on.
Oh, that's right.
And I cut my neck, and I didn't realize that I was like bleeding the whole time, and he didn't notice it either until he like got the footage and was like, "Hey, we're gonna need to reshoot this. You were bleeding out of your neck the entire time." I was like, "Oh, okay." Weird.
Have you ever covered Mobile Suit Gundam? That's another one that falls into that category.
So big.
Godzilla and Star Trek, where it's just like, oh my God.
So Mobile Suit Gundam, like we can break down to just Mobile Suit Gundam, RX-78-2, just that original series, or there's other potential there to go series by series, which is probably not going to happen, or just to do the whole Gundam phenomenon, which is just massive. It's just massive. It's like trying to cover Star Trek. There's so much of it. It's ridiculous.
Episode on toys based on R-rated movies like Rambo or Robocop. You should go back and watch the list that we did.
Very early one. That's an early episode.
Yeah, it's like the third list we ever did.
Yeah. Do you consider Pogs a toy? Yeah, it's a toy.
It's actually on the list.
Ooh.
It is.
Okay.
It was a, it was like a phenomenon.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Do or did you army build any figures apart from Boba Fett? Not as a kid, for sure. I can't think of a single figure that I had a duplicate of, because you have to make that call on the spot. Like you're going out, you're at the store, you're in the toy aisle, you got mom all set up, you're getting a figure out of this, and it's like, I'm gonna spend that token on something I already have or on something new. I was going to get the new thing. So I don't think I had a duplicate of a figure. I don't even think I did it in the 90s when Power of the Force came out. I was like, I could get another Stormtrooper or I could get another figure I don't have. So it was a while before I actually had a duplicate to like army build anything. It was probably like a bat from G.I. Joe.
$5 from Dan Heron. Thank you for the videos. Thank you for watching the videos. If you didn't watch, we wouldn't make them.
Any plans to cover the Green Hornet? That's another one. There's like not really any toys.
They just announced a new movie, another potential movie called Green Hornet and Kato. I mean, we'll see. Anything's possible, especially as we start crossing stuff off that list and it gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
We start looking for stuff to cover. So,
yeah.
Do you remember when the last action hero had toys? Yes.
The bleeding episode was I think it was the first time I dressed as Flint, because I was definitely in a costume, and I want to say
I don't remember it. I just remember the incident.
Yeah,
but I don't remember anything around it.
And then
we shot 600 episodes. I just
think when we reshot it, I wasn't in costume. Possibly, I don't remember. Let's see. Can you divide a franchise by manufacturer and license, like Trek by Galoob, Trek by Playmates? I think that would get a little too specific. We would definitely want to cover, a larger chunk of that.
Have you ever repaired a G.I. Joe?
All the time. We actually have a whole video. There's a Dan in the Photo Booth episode where I'm just repairing O-rings, and it's there's text over it because I couldn't talk that week.
That's right. You got laryngitis.
Yeah. So it has nice music playing, and there's a text crawl while I'm repairing. I find it very therapeutic. It's very relaxing. It's fun to replace dead O-rings. I like it a lot.
Do you have a favorite playset, even if it's one you never got?
My two favorites would be Boulder Hill and the G.I. Joe, the original G.I. Joe headquarters. Both excellent playsets. sets. Both have jails. Boulder Hill has a trap door and transforms into like laser guns and has opening, doors and stuff. Plus, it's just a great like most play sets are like it's a facility, there's a building and cannons and stuff. Boulder Hill is a mountain with a gas station. It's like it's so mundane, and then it turns into a battle station. I love that idea that it was like that you could just use it as a gas station if you wanted to.
Bo Heineman, how much Animal Crossing have you played lately? I haven't played any, but my wife has played a ton.
She's playing right now in the background. Are you going to cover Lost in Space?
I could see it potentially happening. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Do you have a Palatoy Death Star? No, but if you need the PO box, I can send you one. I can send you the PO box address.
The couch, the same pattern as the Shining carpet. Yeah, you are correct. That was one of the reasons why I got it.
What is the cutoff point you won't spend on a figure you want really bad? Well, so I was talking earlier about one of my new grails is that Rhaegar from Mythic Legions, and if I had seen that the secondary market price was going for 100, that still would have kept me from buying it. I still would have felt like that was an irresponsible for my budget. I still would have felt like that was an irresponsible amount to spend on that particular figure. Now, the rules change if I'm at a show. And all of a sudden I got all this expendable money that I was like, I brought it here with me. It's not going home. I'm turning it into toys. So if I saw that at a show, I'd probably spend $100 on it. But like buying it off eBay or something, I can't spend that much on it. Because it's like you need it to accidentally happen, right?
When did you guys decide to start collecting toys and not just playing with and destroying toys? Well,
never
for me.
That for me, you had all those toys as a kid, and then I definitely went through that stage of destroying them. For me, it was I don't know why. It was bashing them with a hammer, burning them with a magnifying glass. Yeah, that's all I really did. I think a couple of them met their fate. You take your bike, you turn it upside down, and then you run them through the crank of the spokes of the chain thing, and you're just like, crank them up good, rip those arms and legs off. That's definitely how I lost all of my original straight arm, green suit Joe figures. They all got their heads smashed with a hammer. Secret Wars figures melt beautifully with a magnifying glass. And then, I didn't start really collecting probably until late high school.
Have a good night, Henrik. Get to bed.
My friend Rich and I sort of fed each other's need and addiction for action figures. He was like, look at this cool thing. And I was like, that's cool. Look at this cool thing. And then we were both it was not good. It's been getting worse ever since.
Are you worried kids don't play with toys as much anymore? I see them playing in my neighborhood, but with phones and devices more. I mean, it's the evolution of society, right? It's just sort of the way it is. And then the generation after them, they're going to be like, are you worried that the kids aren't going on and getting apps anymore?
Yeah, I mean, Stick and Wheel died at one point,
Stick and Wheel,
hula hoop, stick and hula hoop, whatever it is.
Hoop and stick?
Hoop and stick. The old Hasbro hoop and stick died at some point. So taste, kids' enjoyment evolves over time. If they're not playing with action figures anymore, they're not playing with action.
Dark
figures
Wolf, do you remember Inhumanoids? We did a whole episode on Inhumanoids. So yes. Will you do a video on Air Raiders? Yes. Oh.
Used to melt mine together. Who's your favorite Marvel Comics villain? Why does Hasbro hate producing Marvel Legends villains? Favorite Marvel Comics villain? That's tough, man. There's lots of good villain characters. I don't really know. I haven't really read comics regularly for the last 7-8 years, so I don't really know what's going on right now. But historically,
Hoop and Stick.
Yeah, Hoop and Stick. It's called.
Coming soon, Hoop and Stick. The history of Hoop and Stick.
If we did April Fool's stuff, we would definitely throw that out there as an April Fool's.
Video on Bots Master, yes.
Thanks for getting me away from that Marvel villain character question. Do you like old cartoons like Flintstones or any Hanna-Barbera properties?
I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Cartoons are all good. I like cartoons. Hoop and Stick is a killer episode. Bots Master. Love the Jetsons. Thumbs up to Jetsons. Thoughts on Marvel 2099? It's coming up, right? A couple more years, 79 more years. Did you ever think about covering art, toys, or customs? We addressed that earlier. Nah, not really. There's too much out there. Too hard to really get into it.
Greg, VHS question. Are you interested in old TV tapes with commercials, He-Man, Superfriend? No, not really.
Dinosaur Dracula is.
Dinosaur Dracula is. Brutal Moose just started a new mystery VHS series that's pretty good. So, I mean, you know, I get my fix there.
What do we got here? Do you guys hear there's a rumor that The Last Starfighter is getting a sequel? That'd be cool. I'd watch that if it was good. I'd probably watch it.
I have not heard that.
I haven't heard that, but what's your feelings on Lego? Lego's cool. I like Lego. I don't have much. I don't really buy much. I don't really buy much because like even the licensed properties like the Batman stuff and the Ghostbusters stuff, I'm like, I like that Batmobile and I want to have that Batmobile in my collection, but when it's built, it's like it's a Lego Batmobile, and I don't really want a Lego Batmobile. I want one that looks more like an actual Batmobile. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Right.
Ben 10 episode, yes.
My daughter and I just started watching Gem and the Holograms again on the list. It's already been shot.
Yeah.
We already made that video. So
Yeah.
check that one out. Just search for Toy Galaxy Gem and the Holograms.
Yeah. Love the show, guys. Take care, and thank you for the donation.
16 Shooter has an awesome Instagram.
Oh, there you go.
Go check that out.
There's a Bob Ross action figure. Yeah, there is. Thoughts on Imagine Next?
The Bob Ross figure is really cool, but once I saw it in person, I was like, I can't drop $30 on this, and that's where it hit that like interest level price. If it was 20, I would have bought it. At 30, I was like, that's too much. Are you pumped? What was the question you just asked?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Are you pumped for Scoob Hanna-Barbera verse? I'll check it out. You know, I'm a big Blue Falcon. I like the Blue Falcon. So, you know, that looks like a fun movie. And I don't know. I mean, Scooby-Doo is Scooby-Doo, but we'll see. I'm not going to go see it in the theater or anything, even if we weren't dealing with a pandemic right now. That's a wait for Netflix and check it out there kind of thing. How about a Twilight Zone toys episode? Are there Twilight Zone toys?
I don't know. You would know better than I would.
I mean, yeah, I guess there's some characters, but I don't know if there's enough to cover. What do we got? Most underrated toy line that doesn't get the love it truly deserves. I don't know. Those are tough questions because there's like 8 million toy properties in my head. I'm like, which one's the underrated one that doesn't get the love it deserves? That's tough because to me they're all kind of at the same scale, right? You're either are G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Thundercats, and then like everything else is just kind of all together down here that like, I don't know.
Thank you for the nice words, Gamers on Games. Stay safe.
I Am Elemental is starting their own animated series. Will you guys voice act? If asked. If asked. They're not going to ask. I believe Jim Henson Studios is involved in that. And what are they going to be like? Hey, Dan on Toy Galaxy, you have a voice. We don't have any money. Are you interested?
What director or real world producer Greg? What director or real world creator would you buy a figure of? None. It's just not my thing.
What is it? Oh, yeah. Let's see. These are all statements. Statement. I'm looking for things that end in question marks.
What obscure series or toy line would you love to see get a blockbuster movie adaptation?
Centurions.
Not Mask?
I don't know. I mean, like, because all these toys. Here's the thing. I don't think of connections. Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't think of the properties that way. Like for me, it always struck me as weird that like, you know, comic books were this like unappreciated medium because they had to be a step to something else. Like it wasn't enough for it to just be a comic book, right? Like you'd say, oh, that was a good story. I hope they make it into a movie. Why? Like as though live action film is the ultimate, you know, form of storytelling and art that it can't be validated. It can't be important in and of itself until it reaches that point.
Right.
So I don't really think of the toy properties as like, oh, I need it to have validation. I need it to achieve the apex of art as a movie. Like, it's just, it is what it is. Centurions is Centurions, Mask is Mask. There's never a time where I'm like, oh, I really like this toy. I wish I could see Mark Wahlberg play it. You know, like, I wish Sam Raimi, I wish James Cameron would tell me a story about Exo Squad. It doesn't, I don't know. I just don't think of it that way. Maybe that's just me.
Have you ever worried about running out of content? Yes, which is why the list was put together in the first place, because for the first like year or whatever that we were doing the channel, we would just like, we'd finish shooting an episode and then we would just look at each other and go, so what are we doing next week? What episode are we going to do next week? And we would just talk back and forth and figure out what we're going to do the following week, and then that was it.
Well, because it was funny because we were like, you know, there was definitely a time where we were like, oh, it's going to be years before we get to Visionaries. And then in like the first year, we were like, we just did Visionaries. What are we going to do? we have run out of A-level subjects to cover.
So eventually, yeah, it was, I'm going to put together a list. I'm just going to start scouring the internet, looking for any possible thing that we can cover, and just start putting them in a giant list that we can just pick and choose from. But even then,
yeah, and then
it is the kind of thing where I look at that list and I'm always going, it's not long enough.
Well, and then it's, you know, during the research and writing phase, the job is to try to make it interesting and try to find, because we don't want every history of video to just boil down to like, toy company created a toy and then they had a cartoon and then the cartoon and the toy line stopped selling and so they canceled it. Like, we could literally, I could just Mad Libs every single history episode, find, replace all, like take out the names, put in the new names, and that would be it. So it's like trying to find, like, you know, I'm going to spoil this. We're doing Rambo right now. Rambo and the Freedom Force, Force of Freedom.
Freedom Fighter Force.
Force of Freedom.
Freedom Force. Forces of Freedom.
But so, like, you can't just be like, there was a Rambo movie, and then they made toys, and there's a cartoon, and that's the end of it. That's not an interesting video. So you have to like
New Jersey intensifies.
You have to find the things that are unique to that property and like find a narrative and a storyline that's interesting and entertaining that we can build a video around. Otherwise, it's just me like you just, hey, I didn't write anything. I'm going to read the Wikipedia. Like, here's the date it came out. Here's the people who were in it, and play the cartoon, and that's the end of it.
Have a good night, Lions Den. And let's hope that the next meetup actually happens.
2 votes for Space 1999 tonight. Uh-oh. What's that lurking on the floor? That's a cat.
You should cover the toys for Chuck Norris and his Karate Commandos. Well,
same year as Rambo, by the way. I learned that today.
We're covering Rambo now, and it was like they are actually right next to each other on the list.
Same.
And so when I got to that, I was like, Chuck Norris or Rambo? Chuck Norris or Rambo? We'll just do Rambo. So Chuck Norris will happen at some point.
Is there a reason you've moved away from toy review formats like Versus or 4 minutes or less more towards history of and photo booth videos? There's a very short answer to this, and it's yes, there is a reason, and that reason is views. That's just it. That's it. It's YouTube wants eyeballs on screens and on screens for as long as possible. That's how YouTube recommends your videos. That's what powers the algorithm. That's what makes the channel grow. And so if we're going to put out a video that's going to get 10,000 views in a week, and I don't mean to belittle anybody who's got channels that aren't doing that much or whatever, that's not enough for us. So if we're going to do a video that's got 10,000 a week versus a video that could potentially do, 100,000 over the course of 3-4 weeks, then yeah, we're gonna push everything we can in the direction of the potential 100,000 or whatever. Now that said, we aren't slaves to the statistics. We're not slaves to the algorithms and stuff. We still need to keep ourselves having fun, staying motivated, being energized about producing these things. So it's like on one hand, where the value is with views and whatever, but on the other hand, you're still trying to make your own decisions because that's what's going to keep it fresh and entertaining and evolving over time. So yes, views.
And just from a purely practical standpoint, stuff like verses in 4 minutes or less were the longest videos to shoot.
Oh God, how? Like
And,
all the B-roll we had to shoot for stuff,
and
it
they
was
got
just,
the
God,
fewest views.
for the amount of time we put into them, for the amount of views they got, it was just like, why are we doing this?
So unfortunately, they kind of,
And you know, as a review channel, if you're not going to try to be first, the value is in first to market for that kind of stuff, and that goes for any review product, right? Like the first to market is going to get the biggest bump most of the time. There's a lot of like review channels that don't get any views, and I'm like, how did you spoil this? How were you first and you did this with it? So you still need to have some production, but there's a lot of toy channels out there that can do, you know, decent production enough to actually have a large subscriber base and get views. We don't want to compete with everybody trying to be the first. You know what those G.I. Joe classified figures are going for on eBay right now? Like $100 a piece. I don't have that budget. So you wait, and then you get the figures the same time everybody else gets them. Who wants to watch a review now? Who wants to watch a versus? So it's just the value wasn't there for us in terms of the time we had to invest to get them made.
John Solo, do you make a significant amount of money from YouTube? Significant, no. Enough for me to be full-time, though, and that colors the situation, colors the decisions that we have to make based on the videos that we are making, unfortunately. That's not to say that, again, as we talked a little bit about earlier in the stream, that's not to say that we'll never do another 4 minutes or less. We just did one with the G.I. Joe. That's not to say we will never do another versus video. It's just, it's not going to be a regular thing. It's going to be sort of a special occasion thing. What do you think your collaborator's greatest strength is as part of the TG team?
What does that question mean? Like, what is the best thing about our collaboration?
No, I think what do I think your greatest strength is, and what do you think my greatest strength is?
Oh.
As part of the team. The team. You can't spell team with the I in it, but you can spell meat.
I was going to say you can't spell team without all the letters in meat.
Meat.
I would say his ability to edit. He would say my ability to write stupid jokes about toys, probably. To be in front of the camera.
His ability to write and articulate things wittily.
Yeah.
And perform.
Yeah,
We are a good team because the stuff that he likes doing, I don't like doing, and the stuff that I like doing, he doesn't. So there we go.
Yokai Customs, thank you very much. What about versus videos as Patreon content? So that it's about the time invested in it that has to be considered. It's not, look, we would make videos all day, every day about whatever. It just really comes down to the amount of time versus, you know, who sees it. And Patreon right now is not a highly visible distribution system for us. I don't know what our current Patreon count is.
The Patreon count is fine. We've put videos up on Patreon, but they get so few people that are patrons of ours actually watching them that there's really not really not a lot of point.
That's the thing is, it's hard. Patreon's a hard line to walk because you don't want to put we don't want to put too much stuff behind that paywall, right? Like we don't want to lock all our content over there. We really like being able to have it out for free on YouTube. That's going to reach the biggest audience, and we don't want to start this like, you know, public versus private subscriber things. You know, we like putting the behind the scenes stuff over there, but not necessarily too much exclusive like long form content. So it's just it's just not gonna happen.
Greg, do you do any other YouTube channels? No, but YouTube is my primary form of entertainment. I don't have like cable TV or anything like that. We mostly watch YouTube, so I subscribe to a lot of YouTube channels and watch a lot and pay attention to YouTube a lot. So yeah.
Captain Planet movie, yes or no? Not my call. I don't know. I guess it depends on what you do with it. It's possible. I don't need one.
You're very welcome, Matt. Turtle Dave, see you guys. Stay safe.
Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you for hanging out. What is the best thing we as fans can do to keep the channel going? Watch, share. That's it.
Sharing is big. Sharing is big.
Sharing is big.
Trying to reach new people that aren't already watching it. That's a tough thing. You know, we can post on our own social media, but it really doesn't help unless it's reaching people who aren't already watching. And that's the other thing is like, is evangelizing the right word? You know, talking about what it is, because I think people who are non-toy fans are going to look at it and say, I have no interest in a video about, you know, G.I. Joe or Optimus Prime or whatever. It's more about being able to communicate to people and getting them to take a chance on a video so they can see that, you know, it is entertaining and it is informative, even if you aren't somebody who's necessarily a fan of those properties that we're covering.
And that's sort of how we designed the channel from the beginning, because I am not a toy person, Dan is. So we designed the channel to be a sort of midway point between those two types of people. People that are really into action figure collecting and the hobby and everything like that, but people who aren't, but still want to be entertained or, you know, laugh for a few minutes at some dumb jokes. We tried to design something that would have a more broad appeal, that would be easily shareable to outside audiences that weren't interested in this particular hobby. And it's important, you know, as much as we don't like to play the YouTube game, we have to play the YouTube game.
Have to.
And YouTube they want eyeballs on the videos. They want
interaction,
engagement, and they want it shared out. They want people coming into your channel to watch your channel and staying, and your videos passing them on to other content, either on your channel or on YouTube.
I can't remember which they value more, which the algorithm values more, a person coming into the video who hasn't been watching a video, or someone who's watching a video from another video they just watched. I can't remember which one has more weight. Either. I don't know. Who knows? What about crossbows and catapults? Is that on the list? It's just a game. It's a game. There's not really much there. It's a tough one to cover. It's a cool toy. Definitely had it. Loved it. But
has Greg ever put in a video caption that Dan didn't like?
Yeah, definitely. I don't remember what it was, but there have definitely been somewhere I was like, I don't know about that. What am I going to do? It's already on. It's already on YouTube.
That's another competing thing, is that Dan generally is very sort of PG in the content that he.
I was just about to talk about this.
That he likes to put out, and I am the exact opposite. You know, I like horror movies and gore and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I like sort of pushing the edge, pushing the boundary. So there have been some sort of.
So I mean, the only way it really came through on the channel. Okay, there's two things I can think of. One is we definitely had a disagreement about whether or not expletives should be bleeped, and early on they were not. And so if you go back,
they were just strategically deployed.
Yeah. So if you go back, there's definitely a couple of videos way in the early archives that still have an F or a S or some of the others in them.
An F or an S?
A fork or a shirt. But we've agreed now that, you know, bleeped expletives are just funnier. And it just comes down to humor value. It's just funny. You know, like when we shoot the videos, I'll even be like, well, so I'm not actually going to say the word. And he's like, fucking say the word. Just say fuck, you know? I'm like, okay, I'll say it. I like have to like hope and trust that he's actually going to bleep it. Because to me, it's just funnier. But I don't always trust him to actually not to bleep it. And then there was the other example, and I don't know if he and I have ever actually talked about this one. It was one where I saw it and I was just like, I don't know about that. And what am I going to do? It's already on YouTube. It was the top 10 playsets video. And that's the one where you keep cutting in the ones where like it gets bloodier and bloodier over time. And like it's in the comments all over the place. It's like, what's with all the bloody boxes and the bloody couch and the bloody room or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, it's him. I
loved it. I had a lot of fun making those graphics and covering everything in blood. It was a lot of fun, and it was a good, funny sort of meta joke that ran through the whole video. I love it.
Yeah.
Gaposaurus, did fears over Kappa end up being much ado about nothing? Yes.
For us, yeah. We had no fears and it didn't affect us.
No.
So.
Could have cared less. Or couldn't have cared less, I think is the,
Could not have cared less.
Could
you
not
were
have
already
cared less.
at the absolute nadir of caring. You could not have cared less.
could not have cared less
Please.
about Kappa.
I don't care if you ever share our videos again. Take that message forward. Could not have cared less. Thank you, OJ Stapleton. Farts. Farts.
Street Sharks video is fire. Thank you.
Who would win in a stand-up comedy contest between you two? No one, because no one would show up.
No. No one wants to see that.
Yeah. Savage Dragon was a strange trip when it first came out. Sure. Thoughts on the McFarlane Kickstarter? We covered that. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be like dismissive. We covered that. Where were you? Why weren't you here 70 minutes ago? I thought it was a great idea when he told us about it at Toy Fair. I contributed my 1 figure's worth of cash as soon as it went live. I'm pretty psyched that he keeps throwing in more free stuff every time it hits some arbitrary dollar amount. So I'm all good with it. Everything's cool with me. I've read through some. I don't read all the comments, but some of the comments in there are just stupid. You know, better come with a cloth cape. Better not come with a cloth cape. Better come with hands. Better not come with hands. It's just like, guys, stop it. But in all seriousness, he needs to do a necroplasm version. Otherwise, I'm withdrawing my pledge.
Have you considered casting a wider net like Cinemassacre to get those views that wouldn't normally look for toy content? We've done that a lot. The Max Headroom episode did very well. That had nothing to do with toys. Early on, we did a Garbage Pail Kids episode that had almost nothing to do with toys.
Yeah, there's been a few.
We did the an oddities on the Justice League pilot, had nothing to do with toys. So yeah, I mean, we do it when the subject feels right. We'll go ahead and dive in.
Yeah.
Almost all of Robotech had nothing to do with toys. We did 4 parts on Robotech.
Yeah, and we, people are like, you didn't even talk about the toys, and it's like, well, there's more to the story than just the toys, and we're not going to do a whole 20 minutes on just the toys.
How long have you had that Dawn of the Dead tea? LOL. It was pre-aged. I mean, I've had it a while, but it was pre-aged.
That question was addressed to Breg,
I know.
not you. Any chance we'll do the Puppet Master? The Full Moon line of toys have had multiple comic series and attempted video game. They're probably on the list, right?
They're not on the list.
Oh,
yeah.
Probably put them on the list. What's your favorite G.I. Joe, a real American hero vehicle? Sky Striker and Rattler.
What's your favorite type of pizza?
Pepperoni.
Yeah, I don't know mine. It really depends on the day for me.
What?
Yeah.
Like, what else would you have on it?
Green pepper, mushroom, pretty good. Sausage.
No thanks. What, in your opinion, is the best Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch figure? There's a lot.
Have a good night,
really,
Bill.
really good figures. I love the whole Rebels crew. Especially Chopper is just such a nice little figure. I mean, Vader's great. Their best is still yet to come, because now that they're doing face printing, just each figure keeps getting better and better and better. And I'm really looking forward to them going back and revisiting previous characters through like their archive line or whatever, like all the Lukes, all the Hans, all the Leias. Just revisit those guys to bring out better stuff. I really wish they'd revisited Boba Fett. And fixed some of those articulation issues. It's not very posable. It's a nice looking figure, but it's not very posable, unfortunately. So I'd like to see them revisit that. But I mean, just like the basic stormtroopers look great. Everything looks really good. Non-helmeted characters, until they started doing face printing, looked terrible. Now they look pretty good.
Barnyard Commandos episode when? Sometime in the next 300 weeks.
Have you ever owned any D&D toys from the 80s? I remember owning one and it was pretty cool. Yes. I currently have Steelheart.
I had the little wizard guy.
Steelheart. Strongheart. Steelheart's a band, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I have
They
Strongheart.
said I'll never let you go.
All right. I have Strongheart. I have both versions of Warduke.
Was it Angel Eyes in parentheses?
I have both horses. Warduke's horse and Strongheart's horse.
No, it was in
and
that.
just some like random bad guys and little bits and stuff.
Right.
The wizards. Yeah, I have quite a few.
Is ketchup just thick Kool-Aid?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. I'm told. I'm getting a message. Yes, it is.
What are your channel's top watch videos? I think Captain Power and the History of Saturday Morning Cartoons.
I thought GoBots was up there.
GoBots is up there too. Sure, why not? Throw it on the list. Yeah.
Hang on, I'm checking. This is all publicly available information, by the way. Go to our channel, go to our videos page, sort by most viewed. Captain Power is #1, and can't fix the DC. That's not a toy video, though.
It's not a toy video. Neither is History of Saturday Morning Cartoons.
All right, I think we're changing the channel. Thanks, guys. Would you ever do SH Figuarts Dragon Ball stuff? Collect it or cover it? Well, Dragon Ball is definitely on the list. Collect it.
Holy shit. Good morning from Perth, Western Australia.
Nice.
Good morning.
Nice.
Goodness, you're living in the future. What's it like? Is it still terrible?
I had Hook Horror, and he was a pretty cool figure. I love the texture on his back. It was rough. Yep. No, Hook Horror is a great figure. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Is a Usagi Yojimbo episode ever happening? Yes.
Oh, okay. News to me. All right. We're down. Opinion on Funko Pop figures, aka comic shop tribbles. I'm on record. My stance is if you like them, buy them. If you don't, relax.
Oh my God, it's 3:30 a.m. in Kuwait.
Ooh.
Good morning to you as well.
Or go to bed soon. Either way.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You must be tired. I have no problem with Pops. It's a wide enough range of stuff that there's something there for everybody. And yeah, it takes up a lot of real estate, but it takes up real estate because they sell. And I don't. It doesn't bother me that shops got to do what shops got to do to stay in business. And if that's what people are buying, especially if it's bringing in the non-comic shop people, people who don't necessarily go there very often and buying Pops. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, it gets a little tiring, booth after booth after booth at a convention. It's just
see a whole wall of them.
But that's what it is. They're successful.
If they didn't sell, they wouldn't be there.
I don't know why people take it so personally.
Yeah.
It's not hurting you in any way. Also, I have like 30 of them, and I don't collect them. Are you getting any of the new Mego figures coming out now? No, I didn't really. If I didn't buy Norm from Cheers, I'm not getting any of them. Why do you start with Norm? Start with Sam. Jeez, idiots. Sorry if anybody's from Mego watching right now. I didn't mean that. I was just lashing out.
He does that.
10:30 in Brisbane.
Ugh.
Can we get a time check from everybody?
Oh no.
It is 8:29 here on the East Coast of the United States. Have y'all done 70s Mego pocket figures? Nothing specific. They've probably come up here and there in various videos, but nothing specifically on that. We did History of Mego, but didn't talk specifically about those for any reason.
Who was bothered more by mean-spirited comments, Dan or Greg? I'm not bothered at all.
I am. So yes, Dan. And it's so when we go back to collaborator strengths,
I just
his strength is that he just is able to say, whatever. Fork that guy. Like we're getting time checks now. He's able to just say whatever and move on, and I'm like,
sending me screen caps of the comment.
Yeah. And he's like, just block it and move on.
Just block it and move on.
Whatever, who cares? And I'm like, okay, fine.
Just block it and move on.
So I've definitely gotten better in that respect, thanks to him being so dismissive of people.
Planning a top 10 most wanted G.I. Joe classified figures list. Yeah, probably in a wave or two. Like once the line gets out, if it finds its feet.
Yeah, there's only 5 figures right now.
Right. Then yeah, I could absolutely see us doing something if/when we see it.
Yeah, hey,
succeed as an ongoing.
I mentioned it in the Snake Eyes video. If G.I. Joe comes out, if those figures
in
are
the
released,
Bahamas,
if they're released, I wish I was in the Bahamas. If they're released, this guy used military time. If they're released at the same rate that Power Rangers Lightning Collection is released, that means in 1 year there's gonna be like 40 figures. So, yeah, we could talk about doing a top video a year from now for sure.
But as far as like planning one, no, not anytime soon. It's something that'll happen probably eventually.
When will we see another think piece like Collection 2.0 or fixing the DCEU? Those just happen organically if there's a subject that either I happen to say, hey, I've got some thoughts about this that I think we can get a video out of, or if Greg is thinking about something and was like, hey, do you have any thoughts on this that we can get a video out of? Then they happen. But I don't know. Lately, there just hasn't really been anything that's jumped out like that really speaks to the collecting experience, the pop culture experience, anything like that.
We've discussed a couple over the last couple of months, but nothing has really sort of coalesced into something that we thought would make a good or interesting video. Fan of Doctor Who? Any interest / experience with the toys? Not a fan of Doctor Who.
I just no. Nothing against it. I just
no. It's definitely something that we could cover at some point.
And it's one of those franchises that's like so intimidating for somebody trying to get into it fresh. Because I'm the type of person that's like, well, I want to start at the beginning, which means I got to go back and watch shows from the '60s.
You don't.
No, I have to.
No, you don't have to.
When it was like a PBS show or whatever, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to go back and watch that. There was a question I was going to answer.
What do you guys do when you are not making videos? Regular person stuff.
Regular person stuff.
Yeah.
Is that your answer, or is that part of the question?
No, that's my answer. I'm a regular person. I just do regular person stuff.
Yeah.
Is it neat to see so many independents doing figures and ships?
Yes. Cobra Commander preference, hooded or chrome for sure. The mirrored face mask is so much more interesting to me than just a handkerchief on his head with eye holes. To me, that's boring. And I don't know how it stays on. Like, does it have like a headband on the inside?
Don't overthink it.
Does it have a chin strap?
Yeah, it has both.
Chin strap.
It has both.
It just hangs over his head.
Yeah.
Has he ever had like a Marilyn Monroe moment where he was like standing too close to a vent and he was like, ooh, to pull it back down? Does he have the mirrored face mask on underneath the mask, the rag?
No, because his head would be huge if he did.
Then he'd have to cut eye holes in the mirrored face mask, which would be weird. I can't tell whose reflection is in the window in the background, but it looks like a shadowy figure is looking outside. Oh, that's just the. He
would have to be very tall because we're not on the
spirit of the guy who
ground
fell off the balcony. It's just a ghost. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just start Doctor Who from Christopher Eccleston and you're good. Yep.
Have you ever had any major studios contact you for possible future products? It seems that pop culture content is moving more and more mainstream. Has that happened? Did I miss an email?
Major studios contact for possible. No. Major studios. I mean, kind of.
Like what?
Hasbro.
I mean, we have a contact with Hasbro, but that's more just about like arranging promotional stuff.
Well, no, we had something else. We can't really talk about it, but the answer to the question is kind of yes.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't talk about that.
No.
It's a big secret. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Sure.
What's more real, Bigfoot or ghosts? Bigfoot.
What's that question? What's more real? Like real world real? Like it's about to get real?
Most likely to exist.
Bigfoot, for sure. All right.
Are there any other toy review channels that you'd want to collaborate with? If so, who?
We had Foosh on, and then it occurred to me that we've like never actually collaborated with him or them. So probably Foosh would probably be up at the top of the list as far as collaboration goes, just because like I like the guy, I like the show, he's my news show, and I want to hang out and talk toys with him. So if we can do that via video, that'd be great. Any chance of a Monster Force video? Yeah, it's on the list. Mentioned the wall as your display. Do you have anything displayed anywhere else in your house? Yeah, I have my desk that I sit at when I'm write. There's like bookshelves right next to that. That's got figures on it. Beyond that, there are two IKEA Detolf cases in the living room. Those have figures in them, mostly Gundam stuff. One whole case though is Mrs. Toy Galaxy's case, which has like her Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. What else is in there? David Bowie's in there. Not the David Bowie. Just a couple of McFarlane figures, some Barbies, that kind of stuff. Those are like our two cases. My case has Gundam and GoBots and other sort of Guy King, other robots and stuff. My Denzimon, Denjin, those guys, that kind of stuff. Cats in the background, not a question, that's a statement. Do you have Baby Yoda pre-ordered? I didn't pre-order it because I figured that thing's going to be everywhere. And I don't know, I just didn't. I enjoyed the show a lot. In fact, I think there's a behind-the-scenes thing coming to Disney Plus here about the
There
Mandalorian.
is, yeah.
Looking forward to watching that a lot. But as far as like needing to have the stuff immediately, I didn't really feel like I needed to have it immediately. And your cat is adorably playing right
I know.
in the background, perfectly between the two of us. That's why, oh my gosh, we had a spike in viewership because there's a cat playing in the background. I just didn't feel the need to have that figure immediately. Good job. Good job.
You got it though.
Yeah, I should pay attention to the show that I'm on right now instead of watching your cat play in the background. That is great. Hour behind you in Texas.
He's a good boy.
Is Godikins on the list? I don't know if Godikins is on the list.
Did you ever do a video on Jason the Wheeled Warriors? We did.
We did. You know who saw it? J. Michael Straczynski.
He did. And he liked it.
Yeah, he did. I hope we get to meet him again. I hope I get to meet him again.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a do-over on that meeting him.
It was fine. It was fine. It was just short.
I know.
It was very rushed.
I'm always like, I don't want to bother you, even though I do really want to talk to you and tell you how much I appreciate you. Jay, if you're watching right now, what's his first name? Jay.
Just the letter J. Doesn't stand for anything.
If you could steal one of Mrs. Galaxy's toys, which one would it be? She's got the Figuarts Harry Potter figures, and that Snape is a really nice figure. I like that one a lot, just because it's Snape. Have you been watching the latest Clone Wars content? I just started the latest season like yesterday, so I am 7 episodes behind or whatever. So don't spoil anything for me. I need to see the Siege of Mandalore on my own. Thoughts on the Reaction Super 7 retro figures? They're cool. I have some. I don't collect them all. That's the kind of thing where if I decided at some point that I could actually just collect one thing, I could easily see it being that and just saying, you know what, I'm going all in. All I'm buying are 5 POA, vintage style figures. There are a lot of, I follow some folks on Instagram who have collections of, those kinds of 5 POA figures. And I always just think it's such a neat display. Teen Wolf and RoboCop and Star Wars and Star Trek and Ninja Turtles. It's just neat. It's neat. I like them. They're good. Buy some.
How do you feel about the reboots of so many 80s series that don't seem to be doing so well? I could care less.
Stop rebooting them.
I could
Let
care
them
less.
go away.
Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't affect my life.
Do a Babylon 5 toy episode, and you might get to meet him again, possibly. What's your favorite Kamen Rider? Honestly, I haven't seen enough to say that he's like the best or whatever. And in fact, I haven't even seen I don't even know if I've seen an entire episode of Super 1, but Super 1 is my favorite because that's the first one I ever saw. That's the one that was prominent in Japan when I lived there in Japan because my dad was in the Navy.
We already covered Micro Machines.
So Super 1 to me, that's the Masked Rider, I love the black and silver and red. I even love the stupid disco cowboy tassels that he has on his gloves. He has like tassels, like all hanging off his gloves.
Oh, you almost got the magic gift.
Yeah. It's an interesting look that is clearly born out of a specific time. But the red eyes and the silver and the black and the scarf. It's Super 1. Super 1's my favorite.
If you both had Hot Toys money, which current figure would you want? None. I'd just get a new knife.
Chef's knife.
That's great. I would probably, I don't know, man. Just like every character has been made and every character is awesome. Like that RoboCop with the chair and the sounds and it's like diecast. The one Griffin Newman was talking about last week when he was on our show.
The RoboCop?
Yeah. I said RoboCop.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention.
It's a great figure. They're all great.
The one with the chair?
Yeah, and the audio and stuff.
Did you say that?
Yes. Watch the show.
I was reading the chat. I was looking for the next question.
Why are all the DC figure lines so disappointing? I don't know. Everybody's got their standards set too high by the rest of the industry.
How about an episode focused on slime? Pixel Dan did a Toy Explosion video on slime. Go check that out. We don't need to cover it. How large is producer Greg's Laserdisc collection? I don't know. It's like 300 discs.
Oh.
Something. I don't know. It's the whole bottom row of that shelf right there. The top row is albums right here. And then the bottom row is Laserdiscs.
Your favorite kaiju that isn't Godzilla? That's tough. That's tough. Pass.
Good answer. Good answer.
Pass.
Good answer. Let's put it on the board.
Do you ever get any of the Jerry Anderson Super Marionation figures or ships? That's a no.
No. But we did cover. What did we cover that he did?
We covered
Space Precinct.
Space Precinct.
And he commented.
On it. That was one of those where the guy
he liked that video.
Yeah. I was like, oh, wow, crazy.
He thanked us for covering Space Precinct.
Yeah. I assume Greg is scary had to do with the I'm gonna buy a knife.
Probably. Chef's knife, not a stab people knife.
I mean, both are both.
Sure. What was your favorite cereal to eat while watching Saturday morning cartoons in the 80s? I like Fruity Pebbles.
I like Cookie Crisp.
But my favorite, I think probably my favorite cereal of all time is probably C-3PO cereal, but they only made it for like a year. It existed as C-3PO.
No, I know.
Cereal.
I know
I loved
it existed, but who ate it? I
Me.
like my honestly my favorite cereal of all time. I'm a big Fruit Loops fan. They changed the formula not too long ago, and that's sign the petition on my GoFundMe. I don't know. But there was a cereal that was powdered donuts. It was called like Donuts or Donutos or something. Could you guys look that up, find out what the donut flavored cereal was? It was donuts. It was like donut cereal, and I only got it like once, and I never got it again. And that was my favorite cereal of all time.
Yeah, see, I remember C-3PO. This was good cereal.
Yeah, does anybody remember the donut cereal?
Fruit Brute.
That was the Blueberry Count Chocula werewolf. That
how do you
was
feel
very
about
limited
non-collectors living vicariously through your content? Please do. That's why we make it the way we do. Or anything can watch these videos and enjoy them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was called Donuts with a Z. If you could have time to do another YouTube channel, what would it be? Probably a movie channel.
Yeah.
That would be exchanging my expertise for his expertise. It would be a tough write, because I don't watch as many movies as Greg does, and I don't have that nuanced, trivial knowledge that I have of toys for movies. So it would require a lot more research on my end to be able to write those videos. Unless we specifically stuck to movies that we watched, and after like 6 months, we'd be out of movies. Puffs, have you ever considered contributing to HasLabs for any of their sets or ships? They haven't done anything I've been interested in yet. So far, they've used it for Cookie Monster and then like giant stuff, and it's not. I know. A, price is way out of my range, and B, I don't have the space.
Would you ever do an episode on penny racers or stompers 4x4s? Yeah, I mean, if there's enough of a story there, that's one of the other things that is sort of a requirement for if we're going to do a video. You know, we talk about the list that we have. We have this list of 300 plus properties or whatever. Not all of them are going to get episodes because not all of them have a good enough story to tell.
Yeah.
So I mean. There's a list and it has a lot of stuff on it, but we're not going to make all of those videos.
How much do you think a 6-inch scale Millennium Falcon would cost, and would you get it? It would be cost prohibitive, and no, because it would be cost prohibitive. If it was actually to scale, I want to say there was a convention in China or Japan a couple of years ago, and they actually had a 6-inch scale, literally to scale Millennium Falcon that they had built as part of the display, and it's like bigger than your couch. It's enormous. You couldn't possibly build it at an economical or cost-efficient price. It'd be like $2,000. It'd be like $8,000. I don't know. It'd be ridiculous. I'm trying to think. There's some company that does like diorama sets and whatever, and they actually have like a cockpit that they're building, and it's like $1,000. So yeah, the rest of the ship would be like, I don't know, $20,000. It'd be ridiculous. You couldn't do it, and you would have the space. What do you ship that in? If it was a build-a-ship, it would be like 800 chapters. It'd be ridiculous. Favorite video game when you were a kid? Super Mario Brothers?
I was thinking about this. Yeah, I mean, I really played a lot of Super Mario Brothers 3, so that would probably be it. I played a lot of Super Mario Brothers 3.
When does kid end? Because I played a lot of Mortal Kombat. I really liked Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I liked Top Gun and Top Gun 2. Both of those games were excellent.
I played a lot of Phantasy Star 2 and Phantasy Star 3.
I played the '89 Batman game a lot.
Me too. I had
Ninja
that.
Gaiden. Played Ninja Gaiden a lot.
I had '89 Batman.
But then my favorite series of all time is probably Soul Calibur, going back to Soul Blade. But I don't know if that qualifies as kid because that's like college.
Yeah.
$2,000 to $8,000 worth it. 6-inch scale speeder bike is fine. Large vehicles are a no. Maybe an A-wing. Even an A-wing would be too big. Like the A-wing in Lego is like a deluxe set. Like, what are you gonna do in Black Series?
Dragon's Lair we've covered. We already made a video on that. How did you guys meet? We worked together.
Yep. Job. What other toy company would you like to see their version of Boba Fett? I don't know.
Mythic Legions?
Stylistically, there's not really, because like there's already animated versions, already multiple animated versions and multiple realistic versions and toy versions. So it's like, I don't know that there's versions out there, like the movie realization ones and the samurai ones, they don't really appeal to me that much because it strays too far away from the actual suit and the actual, costume and character. So it's just like at a certain point, it's like, was it not really Boba Fett anymore? I don't know.
I assume they are, but it's Super 7 on the list. Yeah, Super 7's on the list. They were on the list really early on. We just have never gotten around to covering them yet, but they've been on the list for a long time. Do you guys collect comics as well as toys?
Used to, not so much anymore. All my comic book money. I got event fatigue and I got spoiled event fatigue. I got real tired of, USA Today or whoever news show getting the exclusive rights to spoiling the ending and it being like this big public thing where they're talking about the way the thing ends and the book doesn't even come out for another 2 days. I got real tired of that whole marketing approach and just had to walk away and say, you know what, enough. I'm not gonna get played like this anymore. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 78 times, shame on me. You're not gonna get me that 79th time.
Would love to see a Logan's Run series of figures. Even reaction would be nice.
I've never seen that movie.
It would be nice. There was going to be a remake like 5,000 times in the last 15 years of Logan's Run. And, it's possible that if that ever gets made, might see something.
Will you ever review the new SHF Darth Vader? Unlikely. It's not something that I'm buying. I already have 2 or 3 different Darth Vaders.
Thank you, Joe Self. Have a good night.
I have 2 or 3
night for you.
Don't interrupt me.
I'm going to interrupt you whenever I want.
I have 2 or 3 different Vaders at 6-inch scale that I'm fine with. So unless it got sent in or somebody sent me a sample or something, it's not a thing that will. And then at that, it would only be in the photo booth. How has Hasbro not done a Boba Fett holiday special version yet? I don't know. Those guys, rascals. We need a Chewbacca family. Do we?
Have you done a video on Garbage Pail Kids?
Yes. Google. Just search Toy Galaxy Garbage Pail Kids. I still have my original Kenner Boba Fett figure. I'm so glad I kept it. You kept it for now. We'll see how long that lasts.
I think I have the old Vader carrying case at my mom's house. How many of those do you have?
I only have 1 right now.
Oh, okay.
I had a bunch, but I only have 1 now. And I kept one that has the actual insert in it. So it has the figures placed on the little Vader silhouetted sheet.
How close do you think we are to getting a Silverhawks reboot? Not remotely.
Not even possible. That's not true. I think Super 7 could do it.
I'm saying we're not remotely close. You said not possible. I think it's possible, but I don't think we're very close.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on how Thundercats does. I think if Super 7 does well with Thundercats, I could absolutely see them saying, you know what, let's try Silverhawks. And then if Silverhawks goes well, they'll stop right there because why would anybody buy Tiger Sharks?
Casey Ewert, yes, we were just talking about the What We Do in the Shadows Season 2 premiere, and actually episode number 2 of Season 2 is up on Hulu already, so my wife and I already watched that, and it's just so fucking genius. It's intimidating.
What do you think of the Star Wars hyper-real figures? I think they look cool. I haven't really put hands on either of them.
Have a great night, TKD Bar.
Luke Bespin is probably my favorite Luke design, so I'm tempted by that one, but at that price range and at that scale, which doesn't really fit with anything else, it's an easy pass, unfortunately. Maybe if I happen to see them at super clearance price at some point, grab them, but for now, nah. Why didn't they capitalize on Baby Yoda stuff when the TV show was on? The story, as far as I know it, is that Jon Favreau specifically asked that they don't do any production, because he felt like it was more valuable to the show to have that organic surprise moment. It wasn't talked about in any of the production pieces. It wasn't shown in the trailers. What he wanted to bring to the Star Wars universe and what he wanted to bring to that kind of storytelling was real, genuine surprise and excitement over something that you did not know was going to happen. Nobody knew that Baby Yoda was going to be there. If the toys had been in production, ready to go for Christmas time, we would have known about it months in advance. And all that would have been out there would have been, when does this character show up? And all the conversation about, is it Baby Yoda? Is it a clone? Is it whatever? Nobody would have cared as much about the show. They needed Mandalorian to be a big deal for the launch of Disney Plus, and they all agreed, and they were willing to put that merchandising on hold to preserve that moment. And as somebody who watched it and experienced that, got real live surprise out of Star Wars, I'm thankful for it. I thought that was great. I wish they could do that more, where they say, let's put the emphasis and the value into the experience of watching it as opposed to the merchandising of it. Because you're gonna have all the Baby Yoda stuff eventually anyway.
Yeah. Has making the show for this long sparked an interest in action figures for Greg? No.
0.0.
No, I'm too old and too set in my ways that this was ever going to do anything.
Yeah, and if he's ever like, I kind of feel like an inkling, a hankering, he just, he looks at my stuff and is like,
I've never even thought,
But if
no,
it could happen. Let's see.
Any hope for another Battle Beast reboot that is more true to the originals?
No, I don't see that happening. What do you think of the 12-inch Legends line that was canceled? Not something I was really interested in. It just, at the price point, it's, I don't know. Everybody's at 6, 7, or 8 inches. Once you jump up to 12, people who are collecting 12-inch figures are going for, the real high-end stuff. I just don't think there was a place in the market for those figures. They could have used that line. If they'd have peppered in like a Sentinel, a Galactus, those kinds of things, maybe it would have, had a little bit more value, but they didn't.
Favorite movie MacGuffin, the case from Pulp Fiction.
I can't even think of any others off the top of my head.
Okay, you did fine.
I don't know. Do you think Todd McFarlane will make more anime figures like Tokyo Ghoul? I don't know. Maybe. I remember in Star Wars Galaxy trading cards, they pulled a card because it featured another character that looked like Yoda. Okay.
If there's one Toy Galaxy video you guys could redo because you didn't have enough information or time the first time, which video would you revisit? We've actually done that a bunch. We just did Thundercats, which we had already done before.
Well, mostly
we've redone Starcom, we've redone Battle Beasts,
yeah, because the show started out as 10 things you need to know, and that evolved into history of. So we've been going back and revisiting all the 10 things you need to know, because the approach to 10 things you need to know was just find 10 things. They're not even in chronological order, and just put a show out about those 10 things. So it could have been like, one of the 10 things that we focused on could have been like, this guy had a blue arm and this guy didn't, and it's like, that's not part of the history. So we've definitely been going back and pulling all of those and restructuring them as history ofs with that proper format and writing and stuff.
As far as a video that we could redo because we didn't have enough information or time the first time, for me, we've actually talked about this before. It would be the Dino Saucers Oddity, just because I would want to, and I think we probably will eventually redo it as a history of, that focuses more broadly on the Dino Saucers property. But I think if I had to do it over again, I probably wouldn't have done Dino Saucers as an oddity in the first place. Mm-hmm. It would have all been a history of on Dino Saucers. And we would have talked about the rare toys in that history.
And that's the thing, is we decided to focus on the rarity of the toys as opposed to the history of the show. And it was so rare that we really couldn't even get any pictures of the toys.
Could not.
That was tough.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Do y'all have the old G.I. Joe aircraft carrier? I have parts of it. I have had full ones, but it goes back to the whole, I just don't have the room for it. So like right now, I think I just have the deck pieces, and they're just sort of stacked up, leaning against a wall in my basement. I just don't have the room to display it.
I think we're going to call it.
Yeah, I was say one or two more questions here. It's just
Okay.
about 9 o'clock. Micronauts question mark. Yes.
It's 2 a.m. here, and I need to have my dinner.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry if it was answered earlier. Would you like to see what would you like to see in a Mask reboot?
6-inch figures.
I would love 6-inch figures. It's one of those, like, if G.I. Joe, there's that line of like, should it be rebooted for modern times, or should it be a period piece set in 1984? Mask, I would love. I have such an attachment to those vehicle designs that it's like you have to set it in the 80s to have those vehicle designs. It's like Bumblebee, like, oh, should he be a Volkswagen Beetle, even though now Volkswagen Beetles are like antique cars. It seems weird. So I don't know.
It's not a green screen.
It's not a green screen. On that note, it's never been a green screen except for the history, the Star Wars list where we actually shot in front of a green screen.
Right.
It's the only time it's ever been a green screen. But thank you very much to everybody for hanging out to us. I did not think we were going to do this for 2 hours tonight. I thought there'd be like 10 questions. I thought we'd already covered most of it, but there was actually a lot of really good questions tonight, and more questions that I need to go do.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
Do some homework on, so I actually have answers for them next time. But yeah, thank you very much for hanging out, especially those of you who are in time zones that are after midnight.
Yeah.
You crazy people. But say hi to Patrick's wife, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Okay. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Turn off the internet. Oh, I should have said cut.